Hello, happy Transfer Tuesday. We have quite a few transfers to go through, so let's get started. But first, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Kathy, a wife and a mother. I have a daughter who is almost 2 years old. My husband and I both work full time, and we are currently working towards paying down what was over $500,000 in debt. And these Transfer Tuesdays have been really helpful for us to make quite a bit of progress on paying down that debt. We have less than $500,000 now, and this year we are hoping to pay off another $30,000 more. If you're new to Transfer Tuesday, it's the day of the week where we make money moves in a positive direction, either paying down debt or saving and investing. And as I said, these Transfer Tuesdays have been super helpful in our journey documenting all of our extra debt payments, really motivating me to take that extra step, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable, to pay a little bit extra towards debt, to see our balances go down and our investments go up as well. So we have 2 debt payments to go over this week, and I think 2 investments as well. So we'll start with our first debt payment that came out, which was my husband's student loans. We currently owe just under $32,000 on these after this payment. I think originally they were about $38,000, and we've just started paying them off since October of 2023 when they first started to come due. And we've just been paying the minimums on these kind of because the interest rates vary between 2.5% and like 4.75% or something. So they're pretty low interest rates, but we are paying a little bit extra towards the highest interest rate ones and actually making pretty good progress on that one specifically. I think it started at like a $7,000 loan, and it's down to maybe $2,000 or $3,000 because of the way we've been making extra payments towards it. But our minimum in order to pay these off in 10 years is $382. So that's what we've been paying. And we pay these every month on the 6th. Unless the 6th falls on a weekend, then it usually comes out a little bit later than that. But that is our first debt payment that we had. These are paid automatically, and so there's not really much to go over with these. Our next debt is also paid automatically. This is my retirement account loan. This payment comes out of my paycheck every 2 weeks. I originally took out a $50,000 retirement account loan, which was the maximum I could take out, and I used it as a down payment on my house back in August of 2021. And I still owe almost $33,000 on this loan, as I've also just been paying the minimum on this one. Although we hope to pay this off by the end of the year, we've just been basically saving up the money that we could be using towards paying this off, and if we end up not needing it or using it for anything home renovation wise, then we will just apply it all to the loan probably by the end of the year. We would like to do some home renovations, but we just haven't gotten around to it, so we'll probably just pay off the loan instead. This has a 4.25% interest rate, so it's also not a very high interest rate, and so we could probably just, keep paying the minimums, and it's not that big of a deal, especially since all of that interest is just going back to my retirement account, and so I'm not paying anyone but myself all of that interest. But we would like to get this paid off so that I'm no longer tied to my job, because if I were to ever lose my job or quit my job, this loan would come due immediately, and we at this moment don't exactly have $33,000 that we could pay this off, especially if I have no job, because then that would be our entire emergency fund, and that would not be a good idea. But by the end of the year, we should have the amount saved up to pay this off, and we probably will go ahead and do that. And then that will give me the freedom, flexibility to quit my job or take some time off maybe. We're still trying to decide exactly what's going to happen I know that I don't want to keep working forever. I would like to be a stay-at-home mom for our daughter, and maybe other kids in the future, but for now, we need my paycheck, especially while I have this loan and the student loans and our mortgage that we are paying off. But I think that once we get at least this loan paid off, we should be pretty good in terms of my husband's paycheck covering all of our other bills, because our expenses are pretty low. We are a pretty frugal family, even though we have a pretty high mortgage. It's a pretty low interest rate, and our mortgage payment is not too far outside of our comfort zone, even if it's just my husband's paycheck. So we do plan on becoming a one-income household in the next year or two, or maybe I'll decrease my work hours. It'll all depend. I'm not really sure exactly what I want to do. There's quite a few decisions to be made on that front. We have probably enough saved up for retirement that we don't need any more contributions in order to have enough when we're 65, although my husband may also want to retire early, and so we would want to keep contributing. So we've technically hit that our Coast Fire number, especially if by the time we reach retirement age, our mortgage is paid off. Our annual expenses should be about $20,000 less if we don't have our mortgage. So we should have reached Coast Fire, and I know that my husband, as he continues working, he will keep continuing to contribute up to the employer's match, which is 8%, which is going to really help us out in terms of retirement contributions. It's hard for me to step away when my employer also offers a really good match, and my salary is also pretty high, and the work isn't very difficult. It's just not something that I want to do anymore, but we'll see. We're still working out different scenarios and talking this over and trying to make a decision that's best for our family. So if you have any opinions, I would love to hear about them, because this is a really hard decision for us, and it would be great to get some input from this community here that's been so helpful with many other things that we've struggled with. But the retirement account loan, the payment that I make every 2 weeks is $236.22. And that's not a very high payment, but again, that comes right out of my paycheck, and there would be no way for me to make that payment if I wasn't getting a paycheck. I would have to pay the whole balance off all at once. So I need to keep working until that's paid off, or pay it off early, and then I wouldn't have to keep working anymore. So besides making the payment to my retirement account loan, I also contributed to my retirement account, and by contributing, I also get an employer match. They also offer a base, so even if I wasn't contributing, I would still get that 2.5%, but they offer a match on 4%. They do a 200% match. So when I contribute 4%, they contribute 10.5%. So overall, I'm contributing 14.5% to retirement, which is quite a bit, which I'm really happy with, and it's going to be hard to walk away from those contributions. But the amount that my employer contributes is $553.24 with the base and the match. And then what I contribute is $210.76. And I just started contributing this as after tax. We do have a Roth option at my workplace, but I decided to do a mega backdoor Roth, which is where you contribute to after tax and immediately roll it over into a Roth. And so that's what I did. So this screenshot of my retirement contribution is going to look really messy, because it looks like I made a withdrawal, because that after-tax money is technically withdrawn from the after-tax account and then deposited into the Roth account. So it's kind of messy. It looks like I contributed $421.52 and took out $210.76, but really I contributed $210.76, and it was taken immediately out and contributed to another account at the same time. So I really only contributed that amount, nothing more, nothing less. and it's just a little bit confusing in terms of what is shown on Vanguard. But those are my automatic paycheck contributions. It's just over $1,000 contributed every 2 weeks to my retirement account between what I contribute, my payment towards my retirement account loan, and what my employer contributes. And so it's quite a bit, and it's really helping us make progress towards financial independence. And then we had one more investment this week. Last week we had an Acorns roundup. So Acorns is my after-tax brokerage account, and anytime we make a purchase on our credit cards or from our checking account, any kind of transfers or anything, the change on those purchases or accounts get rounded up, and then whenever we hit the $5 threshold, that amount gets contributed to my after-tax brokerage. So it's just kind of a fun little way to invest a little bit more at random intervals. And it's not really like a necessity for me to be contributing to my after-tax brokerage, although it will be helpful if I do retire early, and my husband as well. But for now, we're not focusing on this account. We're really focusing just on paying down debt and investing in our workplace retirement accounts and my husband's Roth IRA as well, which we have maxed out at the beginning of the year. But this is just a fun way for a little bit extra investing that I like to do, and it's not too much. It's about $15 a month that we end up contributing, but it's just something fun for me. But the amount of the roundup this week was $5.38. And my Acorns account has been fluctuating around $18,000. I think it has about $5,000 or something in gains. And I've had this account for about 5 years now. So I was contributing quite a bit at the beginning when I first opened it, because that was also a time before I had my house, before I had my daughter, when I was maxing out all of my retirement accounts, doing a little bit of Meg backdoor Roth conversions, and then I still had additional money that I wanted to invest in brokerage accounts that I would have some money in case I wanted to retire early. So I began this account with that intention, and I was contributing quite a bit at the beginning, but now I am not. So for the past, I think, 2 years, we've only been contributing about $15 a month, and that's good enough for me, because it's going to sit there and grow, hopefully, with the market, and we'll just see what it does. And I can kind of use this account as like a second backup emergency fund in case we have something really drastic that comes up that we need to take this money out for. But for now, I'm planning on just letting it grow, contributing to it just a little bit every month, and just seeing what it does. So that is everything for me for my Transfer Tuesday today. Let me know in the comments if you made any transfers today. I would love to hear about it and cheer you on as well. This is definitely really motivating for me, and I hope that it's motivating for you also. And if you're interested in seeing more of my family's journey as we work towards paying down our debt, reducing our monthly expenses, saving and investing, hopefully retiring early, then I would love to have you subscribe and follow along. Thank you for being here.